Welcome back. I'm Bobby Ann, the community manager of Girl Paddlers. I hope you're having a fabulous paddle season so far. Today's guest has a really incredible story to share from her paddle season this year. Rosemary Sales, founder of Wye Knot Community. Rose, thank you for joining us to share your story today.
Anytime, Bobby. Thank you for having me, guys. It's lovely to be on a podcast with you. So thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So, first things first, tell us, what is the Wye Knot Community and how did that get started?
Wow. So I founded Wye Knot Community in 2018, and it's an intergenerational activities company. So I provide activities for newborn babies to people that are 103. And I have my actually now 104. So my oldest client is 104 years old.
Wow.
And the oldest person I've took on the river as well is 90 years old. So when I
Oh,
say
that's a
different ages,
motivator.
I work with all the ages and all the different activities. Even for people that can't go outside, I bring the outdoors in with my intergenerational forest school. I guess that's what Why Not Community is all about community and empowering women. So I've got my own program where I offer empowering women weekends, holidays, adventures, just for women, which has absolutely been amazing and changed so many people's lives.
That sounds all so lovely. And I mean, we fully align with that mission for sure. You know, what we do over here at Girl Paddlers is to try to bring women together and try to encourage people to get on the water. And it sounds like you're doing that in a much, much bigger way, which we can fully appreciate. And your community is actually named after the river that's by you. Is that right?
So I live right near the River Wye. It's the most beautiful river in the UK to me. It's close to my heart because it's close to where I live, and it's where I began to learn how to paddle. It's connected me to the river, to the paddle, and nature as well. So I owe it a lot. That's why not community. Yeah.
So you're a canoeer, right? Did you grow up canoeing or when did you get started with that?
So I'm a paddleboarder.
Oh, really?
Yes. I did all my qualifications in paddleboarding because I loved it and I loved how free it was, and you can just go around with a inflatable paddleboard, get on the bus somewhere and end up on the river and do 100 miles in a few days. And I loved that. I started doing that, and then someone introduced me to canoeing, and I was like, "What?" I was 32 when I started canoeing, and I literally took to it. It was like amazing. It was like I had this. I mean, transferable skills with a paddleboard, but it was just absolutely amazing how I could just, like, on my own, I did solo. And I just felt, it's like I was so connected to canoeism. It was unreal. And ever since then, I've had a love for canoes, and now my kind of life revolves around canoeing.
I
Yeah.
think that's a lot of people's dreams is to be able to take the thing and the hobby that you love the most and be able to do it all the time. So what a blessing with that. What is it like to paddle the Y?
At the moment, it's quite low because it's quite hot at the moment, and the water is very, very low because the farmers use it to do the fields. It's used a lot for different reasons. So it's not great at the moment. But soon as September, October comes, we have our rain in, then it's amazing. It's we only have about two grade twos, so it's not full of rapids or anything. It's just parts of it it's a beginner friendly river, accessible to all. That's what I like about it.
Well, that's perfect for all the workshops and retreats that you do. So getting people out there for the first time, it sounds like the ideal environment for that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what is the paddle season for you guys more in the fall then?
Yes, yeah, for experienced paddlers, obviously if you are a beginner, it's probably nicer to go out when the water's warm. Does this get very cold in England? So if you've got your gear like dry suits, which most of us do have around this area, we're in it all the year round. And the quietest time, my favourite time, is December. December's beautiful, and January. You get the frost, and it's just absolutely lovely. So that's my favourite time. Yeah.
I'm not a cold weather girl. I'm really not, but I do love in the winter to see. I mean, it doesn't really get cold too bad where I live anyway here in Tennessee. I'm in West Tennessee. We just, we hardly get winter, but it's still just too cold for me to go out. But I love to see all of the people who are out there with the pictures like you were mentioning with the frost and the fog is always nice and low in the mornings and it just creates a beautiful atmosphere that um, yeah, I wish there were more beautiful areas like that around here for me to paddle because I think I
Oh,
probably would get out if it was nice and calm and That's really great. That's really great that you're getting everybody out there,
What do you,
especially your. Hmm?
sorry, what do you have then? What kind of rivers do you have out there?
I live in an area that is right between a lake and a river, but it's like it's really big for boaters that time of year, so it's not really great for paddlers to get out. But also the current, like in the winter, we have a dam right where I'm at, so the current in the winter can be a little bit too harsh to even attempt to get out in a kayak or a paddleboard or something of that nature. So,
Yeah.
and it's quite large, so getting from like one area to the other, like one bank to the other bank is not really feasible. So I would love to be in an area like, well, this past weekend, we actually, the girl paddlers got together and did an area in Mammoth Cave National Park. That was like the perfect river. If I wish I had something like that by me, that was up in Kentucky. And it was the perfect type of river to be able to paddle because there's no boaters allowed. And you know, it's kind of a more narrow river. So it's nice to be able to get to do things like that in different areas, but it's just not the river by me is just very large, so it's a bit more difficult and not as paddle friendly, but that's okay because you know there's always opportunities and to get to go other areas, so that's nice too. I always like exploring. Back to Wye Knot. So Wye Knot, there's so many incredible things that you're doing with that. I know there's so many different avenues that we could take talking about that one all day long. But what I'm really excited to let people hear about today is your journey into northern Mongolia. So that's a big canoeing trip. I don't think you could have done that one on a paddleboard.
Actually, saying that, I'm actually going to
Really?
do it in 2 years.
On a paddleboard?
I'm going to go back there and do it in 2 years as a challenge.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be so impressive. I'm already incredibly impressed that you did this in a canoe. That is next level. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, we will have to come back here after that journey and you'll have to tell us about that one too, because I cannot wait to hear that's so impressive. I don't know how you're going to do that. I mean, I'm confident that you can do it, especially seeing everything that happened from all your other adventures, but
Yeah.
that's next level.
Yeah. It actually, even thinking about Mongolia now, it makes me so emotional. It changed me. These trips that us women do on the water, it changes you. Any challenge that pushes you to your limits, it just brings out something amazing out of you. So any woman out there that wants to do a challenge, just do it. Really do it.
Yeah. Well, I am more than confident that people are going to be so inspired after hearing about this journey that they're going to get out there and try to do something themselves. So let's jump into that. Where did all of this come from? Where did the idea come from? What encouraged you to try to do this?
Okay, so I've always wanted to go to Mongolia. But before I forget anything, I just want to say if anybody wants to come with me in 2027, send me an email, okay? Because I'm going to be doing it on my paddleboard, but we also have canoes out there. So if people want to join me, please come along. Just do it. Sorry, I had to say that because it just popped in my head.
Yes, no, of course. I think you know, anything
Started.
adventurous like this is what we encourage people to do. So I would love to see more people listening join you and make this a bigger deal than it already is.
So this is how it started, really. So I've always wanted to go to Mongolia. I love their culture there. I love Genghis Khan. I love everything about the nomadic families. And I love the nature they have there. They have good nature reserves there, and the way they treat each other and the land. So I've always wanted to go to this place, and not for canoeing, just to go. Canoeing was just a bonus, really. One of my close friends, Matt from Outdoor Sweden Coaching, because no one would go there from the UK. It's too extreme. I don't think anyone goes there from America either. I think the only people that go there are from Canada or Sweden, maybe Norway as well. I'm not sure, but not many people go there to risk it. But anyway, so this company does it, and they had 6 places, and I've fought really hard to get one of those places, and I got one. And I guess that's what took me there, really. And it was never meant to be about canoeing, but it turned into a canoeing adventure. But it wasn't just canoeing there. I mean, I was 9 days canoeing, but I was also 6 days traveling. You know, I was hiking. I was in one of these really strange vehicles, it's like an old Russian Jeep. And the ground there is you think potholes are bad. I mean, we have bad potholes. I'm not sure what you have in America, but we get really bad ones.
We have
So,
our fair share.
oh, you do? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
their
oh yeah.
potholes were nothing compared to ours. They were like the size of me.
Oh,
So no one maintains the roads, and we were doing mountains. We were driving over mountains, literally, just like no roads, just out in the desert as well, because we crossed through the desert area. But it was the terrain changed every like few hundred miles, so we really crossed every terrain thing you can think of. Even we went for a river. We drove for rivers.
in
That
the
was more
vehicles?
scary in the vehicles, and now that was more scarier than canoeing to me. I was like, oh my gosh, that scared me more than anything.
Gosh. I mean, that's so much to pack into one trip. And you said you were there for 9 days,
Oh
beginning
no,
to end?
I was on the river for 9 days.
Oh, so how long was the entire journey?
3 weeks, yeah. So I was traveling the whole time I've arrived to the whole time I left, and 9 days, full 9 days on the river, which I don't think 9 days was that long for me because I'm used to living off land and but maybe it might be quite a lot for other people. But yeah, I think 9 days is quite a good balance for me, just so you can really take in everything and really bond with nature because you do.
For sure. I mean, at that point, you're fully living in it. How what part of the journey did you start the river portion?
So we started it on the Russian border, so just after the Russian border, um, Ulan Tiger, Tiga, and we started. It's called the Russian Bridge, and we started there, and then we canoed all the way down to the five rivers, which was that was the finish point, and we covered 360 kilometers, which works out about 224 miles in 9 days, which is doable. We did different miles each day, so yeah, yeah.
That is it's just for someone like me that I don't think the longest journey that I've ever done on a kayak was more than 12 miles. I just can't even like wrap my head around this full like 360 kilometers. I mean, I get that you're chopping it up into different days and you're not trying to tackle it all at one time, but that is just so impressive. And I just can only imagine how life-changing that was. Like truly, like what an adventure. And I'm sure that this wasn't, you mentioned that there was limited spots and you went with another company. I imagine this wouldn't be one that most people would try to tackle by themselves. How many people did you say you had with you?
So including the tour guides, there was 8 of us in total. And I mean, we were remote. If something happened, you're not going to get saved. You have to take that.
Mm,
You have to be absolutely 100% sure you're happy with that. If something happens out there, it's the team that you're going to rely on, or there is a chance that you can die because how remote it is. As long as you accept that before you leave, I think you're at peace with it.
that's a big consideration.
Yeah.
And with you guys doing that completely on your own. And I did see that you did this completely manually. There was no GPS or radars or anything that you took with you. You were going strictly maps.
Well, no, I took my map, but because of the safety hazards of it, their tour guide did have their GPS and a satellite phone, which we didn't need to use. I mean, that's just no, like I said, we couldn't get rescued anyway. It's just to contact people in like need of family to let you know where we are. Um, but that's not, we created our own map because there's not a map there. So when you say GPS signals, the map there is you can you can't read it as the river. You could read a river map. It's there's no tour guide for anything. Like it doesn't tell you where your rapids are, the bends in the river. We literally just had to make our own, and that's what we did along the way. So we charted our own river map on the way. So hopefully we put it hasn't come out yet because obviously this has just happened. We'll have a guide for other people to use if they need to use it.
Wow, so this is something that's impacting future travelers as well. I didn't realize that you guys were really cutting the way for this. There's so much that goes into that. So I imagine that there was a ton of prep and planning that went into this before you started your journey. What did the preparation portion look like?
So I've been preparing for this trip for over a year. Um, So not just physically preparing, but mentally preparing, and also making sure I've got everything I need to carry out this extreme adventure. People have these adventures, but if you've seen it on Instagram or Facebook, social media, you don't see all the hard work that goes into it and all the training. You have to be physically fit, mentally fit. You have to be ready for anything. So I think I trained too much because I felt when I got there I wasn't challenged enough. So I guess it was better to be like that then. Yeah.
I can't imagine a journey like that. You could be too prepared or too ready, though. That sounds like you needed to be extra prepared for you to even think that you were not being challenged enough. And
Yeah.
this is like such a journey that I can't even wrap my head around. Is even more impressive.
Maybe on the paddleboard, I think that might now I've done it once. I might be more challenged. But the challenge was you're going blindfolded. You don't know what the river's going to be like. We had no idea if it was grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. We didn't know about the strainers. We didn't know anything really about stuff like that. So that was a major challenge there. But now we know. Now I know. Yeah, I'm quite happy.
Well, you did mention that the guides had this trip open to others. I wonder what prompted this to become an option for people anyway, if this was something that was completely uncharted, especially
I
for the
mean,
guides.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how he picked the people to go on it, but
Hmm.
everyone else on it really 100% wanted to be there. I mean, they gave it their all, and they all got so much out of it. And it was life changing for a lot of the people on it. A lot of them were a lot older than me because they had more time. A lot of people don't have that much time to take off their work. I mean, that is my work, so it's different for me. And also money. It's kind of expensive to do these extreme adventures. I mean, I think it costs them around £5,000 each, including flights, which is expensive. I mean, it has to be. It's a lot that planning and prep goes on to these trips, so they're not going to be cheap. And the people that do tend to go on them are people that are retired and have the money to do so, or people like me that are they just get away in life, hustling and bustling, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
using my skills. I don't know.
Yeah, it is lucky that you are able to have that flexibility because I we notice that a lot with some of our trips as well. Is it usually is people who are already retired or their kids are grown and out of school already because that's really the only time that you have to do nice things like that is when you get later in life and you finally have some freedom and less responsibility. So, what were some of the things that you did to prep for that, as far as your mapping or prepping your gear, or what kind of training did you do?
So I did a lot of river training. I did about every time because I work Monday to Friday. So I work weekend on the weekends. I was on the river every day off. I was on the river doing at least 20 kilometers a day, and having that consistency where I would have hardly any sleep and go back on the river. I was training more for that kind of because when you're wild camping, you don't normally sleep like you used to. So you need to be prepared for performing on hardly any sleep, and you're not going to eat food like you normally eat as well. You're not going to have all the luxury nice food that you would have if you're planning a shorter trip or if you're at home. So we were on boil in a bag meals. We had enough calories a day, but it's not the nutritious food that your body needs. So I was preparing like that really, and going on loads of hikes as well because hikes is so good for endurance. you know and the weather changes as well. So in Mongolia, it's warm in the day and it's cold at night. And I was prepared for really cold weather at night, and it wasn't that cold. So the kit I bought, some of it, I mean, I did use every piece of kit because I bought it with me, but I didn't need like my really thick sleeping bag or my massive warm coat. I didn't really need that. Um, but I could have needed that if the weather would have changed. I know I had it. It's stuff like that, just making sure you have the right kit, and make sure you're using your kit as well to know how it works and how you use it. There's no point bringing something with you if you don't know how to use it and you don't know how it works. And also my jet boil. My jet boil is one of my biggest things I use on my canoe or my paddleboard. It's a compact stove. I can heat water. And then when I was out there, there's no water there. It's just your river. So you need to know how to purify your river water because that's your only source of water. You need to be good at stuff like that and know what you're doing. Otherwise, you can get yourself sick on the trip. You know.
I
So
didn't
it's all
even
that.
consider the water portion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So, how do you decide when you're prepping your kit? Of course, you're thinking about all the different scenarios that you might run into, but at the same time, you're trying to cut weight and you don't want to bring extra things that you really won't necessarily need. How did you decide what to bring and what not to bring?
So that comes with experience. See, I've done quite a few expeditions, obviously not this extreme, and I've had trial and error. I put literally years of trial and error. So I'm at the point in my life now where I know what works and what doesn't work. And I think that comes with time as well. And I think every person's different. You know what equipment you like, you know what brand you like. I'm lucky because I'm part of the Mammoth community, so they give me a massive discount on their clothes and their items. So most of my stuff was Mammoth. And also, I'm not sure if you heard of a company called Through Dark. It's an ex-military company that do like outdoor clothes, mainly for men, but they're trying to branch out to women a bit more. And they sent me loads of cool stuff to wear. So all my kit was pretty much free, stuff
That's
like that
very
helps.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really nice that they were willing to do that for you because I like you mentioned there's already the initial cost of travel
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
everything else that goes into it. So that's incredibly helpful. Yeah, I think that would be one of my biggest challenges going on a bigger trip like that because I'm one of those packers that I'm like, do I need these three hats that have been sitting in the back of my closet for the last 2 years? I've never even looked at them, but this might be the time that I need to bring these three hats, you know? Like I have a really hard time auditing any type of packing, whether it's for paddling or vacation or anything like that. So, but as you mentioned, you've done these a lot, and this is what you do full time. So, um, I'm sure that will be very helpful to know when if people want to join you on your paddleboarding trip next time, you'll know kind of the area a little bit better, and um, and but there's always those emergency scenarios that you might run into. So,
Yeah.
how do you I guess there's not really any way to fully prepare for things like that, but when
Yeah.
you're going to an area that you're unfamiliar with, what are some of the things that you have to think about when you're prepping for those emergency situations? Because you've mentioned you guys were just on your own. There's no backup to call if something happens.
So the like a emergency kit, we have like throw lines, we have knives, we have saws, and we'll have a personal first aid kit where we can do the best we can. I mean, I'm first aid trained outdoors as high as you can get, and so is the leaders there. So we're okay to help people, but if anything happens to us, it's and the knowledge of the group. So sharing things and telling people like every day a safety brief is so important. Just giving the people the basic, like knowing that your group can actually, you know, help you as a participant if you need it. Um, so that's also comes in handy as well. Stuff like that, knowledge. And like things that could go wrong, your strainers. If you get caught in a strainer, like I said, we have a saw to saw the thing that's stopping people to get by. We have stuff like that, and throw lines. We use them a lot. I mean, we had a few capsizes, so I got really good at rescuing, and I enjoyed it. I really did actually enjoy the rescues. So that was I mean, you can't be prepared until the accident happens or something happens. You just need to think on your feet and remember what you've been taught. I mean, that's the only thing advice I can give you there. Make sure, do you know these first aid course, outdoor first aid course, these water first aid course? Go on them. If you're a solo paddler or especially females, I mean, why wouldn't you go on them? It could save your life or somebody else's. And as a group, if everybody has this knowledge, you're more likely to be safe. You know.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. We've talked about this in several episodes already. It comes up almost in every conversation about how important safety is, taking extra training courses, making sure that you have your PFDs, and that you're wearing them, they're not just sitting in the boat or sitting on your board. Yeah, safety courses, highly recommend. Was there any special certifications that you guys needed as attendees to be able to go? Because you mentioned you're already certified. You have a very impressive resume ahead of time. But for the others, was there a certain type of requirement?
So is some white knowledge of whitewater. That was the only obviously fitness level and knowledge of whitewater. And people's history, like a lot of them on have been in the army and stuff like that. The knowledge of obviously working in a group as well. It's not a solo adventure. This is a group teamwork, and it's not working as a team. It's not going to be a successful trip. So the person that Matt that picked the group, he would have made sure that everyone on the group was, at the right standard of it. But you can't. I mean, people say sometimes they're good. They know about. More, they have more skills than they think they have, and they put themselves into really dangerous situations. I mean, that can happen. So you need to be wary of that. But how do you know? I mean, I wouldn't know. How do you test someone until you're out there? So that's another question. But yeah.
Even for yourself, I mean, you don't know until even if you've taken courses, real life scenarios are never, you can never learn that in a classroom until you're in it in real life. So you never know what's going to come up. So I'm sure that was a very nervous part of the trip, is just not, but maybe equally as exciting, is never knowing what's going to happen day to day. I'm sure that's part of the just lively part of the adventure, and the rewarding part of it is, getting to go day to day and experience something new every day.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. You had posted that you guys were waiting on confirmation that this was actually the first British group to go on this journey. Have you guys gotten confirmation, or is that still in leeway?
So I'm still waiting. It's taken him for ages. I have kept like asking him and asking him. I think they just got to do a lot of checking. But I'm 99.9% sure that we are, because in Mongolia people don't canoe. It's not, like I said. It's not.
Right.
It's not what they do. There's like probably, well, there was 4 canoes that we had. That's the only canoes they had. In a whole place. That was it.
Wow. That's actually very surprising, because, a lot of river communities, if you're living there, then that's very a huge part of the culture. If you go to different islands, I lived in Guam for a while, and that's, I mean, I understand that's tropical and it's a different type of environment, but all around the world, communities that live on the water, that's typically a huge part of their day-to-day life, and they spend a lot of time on the water. So I'm surprised that that's not more part of the culture there.
So that actually baffled me as well. I mean, when I didn't know this till I got there, that how rare it was to canoe. And a lot of them are scared of the water. They don't get taught how to swim from a young age. There's a there's a there's a big like uncertainty there, because a lot of children unfortunately drowned in Mongolia. Um, just lack of knowledge of swimming, and they don't know what buoyancy aid is. And they just stay away from the water. It's quite strange, yeah. Hopefully one day that will change and they learn,
Yeah.
because it's such a beautiful place to be canoeing. I mean, we did one river, but there's so many rivers out there. There's, you know.
Yeah. Endless options, endless options. So you did mention that you guys only took 4 canoes for the
Well, there
whole
was only
crew?
four. There was only 4 canoes that we could get hold of.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So were they just available in the community that you arrived at, or did you bring them in?
Well, they were bought in for one of the other companies that used them. It was, I think it was a Swedish company. I'm not quite sure where they come from, but they were bought in for one of the groups that they take people out on. But then, like I said, there's only 4. And last time that river, was done, it was from a Switzerland group, and they did it in 2017. So that's the last time them canoes were used. So
Wow. So that was a huge chance that you arrived and they were even in good enough shape to be able to take out on the water.
that was a chance as well, because we didn't know.
Wow. So were the canoes just there when you guys arrived in the area, or did you like have to drag them in? Because you were mentioning you're doing a lot of
Oh
hiking,
yeah.
you're on these jeeps, and there's so
So
much
we had to
traveling
turn.
happening. How do you
We had
get the canoes to the water?
literally we had to pick them up in this really like old kind of village, and we had to take them with us on. They were attached to the jeep on a trailer, and they went with us over the mountain and through the river. So literally, there was no regulations out there, so it's fine.
I would have been so nervous. You're already down to 4 canoes. I would have had no other thought the entire journey of one of these canoes is going to bounce off and we're going to be down to 3.
The thing is, though, if that would have happened, we would have had to cancel the group, really, because you can't,
Oh,
like, because we
yeah.
wasn't just canoeing, we were carrying weight. So the difference is canoeing and carrying, canoeing with weight is so different. You have to change the trim, you have to be aware of where you're leaning. It's so different to canoeing with fully loaded canoes. And we had a lot in our canoes. If you think there was 8 of us, we had to bring all the stuff we needed, like our tents, our food, emergency kits, our safety kits. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and there's only so much weight that an individual vessel can carry. So, well, I'm glad it all worked out for you. You did make it to the water. You're here to tell the tale. So, of all the crazy things that could have happened with those 4 lonely canoes, you
I
made it
know.
happen. So, for next time, will you be bringing your paddle boards with you, or how are you going to make that happen? Because I imagine that with them only offering 4 canoes, they don't have a lot of paddle boards available.
No, so they've never heard of paddleboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm the group that I went with. He's going out with a canoe group, so I'm gonna go on the back of his group. So we go as a bigger group because we only had small numbers because there's only 4 canoes. So I'm gonna come with my canoe, and if anyone wants to join me, just message me, okay? Because I wouldn't mind doing it with someone else. I'm mad enough to do it. But I'm going to take my red paddleboard. I'm not sure if you know what red make is, but I think it's the best make you could possibly have for paddleboards, and I use it for whitewater as well. So I'll come on the plane with that, and whoever's coming, I would recommend they have a nice red board as well, something that I know that has tested time and it's done a lot. So hopefully that wouldn't be a problem with the boards. We would have to bring them with us, but we would definitely be the first people in the world ever to do this. Ever.
Wow, making history twice in a row. That's
Yeah.
very impressive. Wow. You're gonna have to get some plaques or something to put on the wall for this because this is so memorable, so impressive. I know everyone in the paddling community are just going to be raving about this, and I can't wait for everyone to hear all about this. I did want to back up for just a moment because I did skip over this, and just for clarification, because this is an international community. So the confirmation that you're waiting for is from the Royal Geographical Society. So
That's right.
what is it that they do, and why is it them specifically that you have to wait on?
I think they just do a lot of research, I
Okay.
think. And they're just the ones that say it, you know.
Okay.
They document charts. They do like people like make. I think they're just the people that do it. I mean, I never heard of them till I actually found
Oh,
the
okay.
British contact.
Okay, so this isn't something that I was just missing out on. They just happen to be the ones in charge. Okay. So I was just curious about that portion because I was like, what is it
Yeah,
that we're waiting on?
yeah. I'm still curious too.
So maybe we'll
I
do
don't
some
think they
research
get
on
many
that and
people.
chat
Yeah.
about it in the comments or something.
So I don't think they get many people reaching out to them because a lot of the world's already been seen and touched and everything, hasn't it?
True.
So maybe it's just one man kind of part time, one woman or man part time kind of job.
Just a guy that gets a call like once every 6 months to do something.
But I have to
So,
say, the hardest thing on the trip that I found the hardest was because I am a mother. I got 2 teenage
mhm.
children, and the hardest thing because I've never been away with them this long before was definitely leaving them behind. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but
And it's such a long journey.
yeah, but they were so happy. They said it was the best time they ever had.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they're great. Thanks, guys.
Well, was there no rules while mom was gone?
Yeah, no, actually, well, while Mum was gone, my son got a girlfriend, and my
Ah,
daughter dyed her hair red. So yeah.
wow. So you came back to lots of surprises.
Yeah, to be fair, I think it helped them grow up a little bit. So anyone feels guilty for leaving their children, I don't think you should. I think it's for them for learning and you for learning.
We're big encouragers of getting
Mm.
out there and doing your own thing. You
Yeah,
have to, no matter if you're a mom or, whatever you've got going on in your life, you have to do things for yourself. You have, as adults, we have so many responsibilities between your jobs and families and partners and everything else. You have to take time to do self growth. And
it's
we
just
highly
hard.
encourage people to.
Yeah, and it's harder being a woman or a mum. I mean, there's a
Hmm.
lot of I don't know, a lot of pressure, I guess, as well, and then people don't understand it either. But I don't know. I think that's old school, and I think we're changing as a society to accept that. Why can't we? you know Yeah.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And I love that we're having more conversations like this and getting more of these stories out into the world because I think it is just maybe unawareness that these things are happening all the time and women are doing these very impressive adventures and accomplishing these really amazing things in life, but they just unfortunately just aren't getting so much traction or maybe just just people aren't aware. And when we started this podcast, that was something that we talked about a lot is we really wanted to highlight all of these really cool athletes and
Mm.
adventurers and coaches, and because they just don't get the highlights and the attention that they deserve. So,
That's
and
so
I
true.
yeah. And I think that if they did, it's going to encourage more people to do it. I think we talk about this all the time in media and, with friends and in groups like Girl Paddlers that, you know, it really takes being able to see someone that looks like you doing something sometimes before you
Yeah.
will attempt it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So whether that's, gender associated or whatever, I think seeing more women out there on the water doing these impressive things, making history is going to encourage people to want to do their own thing too.
Oh,
So
good.
we give you so much props for being some of the first ladies out there. Well, actually, I don't even know. Were you the only woman on the trip, or were there others?
Okay, so I was definitely the first woman that crossed the line.
Wow.
I was in the front boat scouting, so yay. Yeah, so it was actually one of the guys brought his wife with him.
Okay.
She wasn't a paddler. I mean, she's been in a canoe before, so it was a completely extreme challenge for her. Her name was Deb, and she's Welsh. But I'm so glad there was another woman on the group. It was so nice just to have another female there with me. Um, Even if she did find it really, really hard, I'm still glad she was there.
Yeah, I mean, that is
Yeah,
really brave to do if you've never paddled before
I
and
know,
then you're doing like top level paddling.
I know.
So for
But
your
that's
first adventure.
I do think she was her husband didn't tell her how hard it was going to be because and then the leader Matt, he assumed that they were, they said they, both whitewater paddlers, for the criteria, so he didn't really question it as much. But and not having that whitewater experience was very hard for her, very, very hard.
Oh, I can only imagine because what
Yeah,
you've explained already seems like you definitely need to not only be experienced in whitewater, but just be experienced in doing overnight
yeah,
paddles and
yeah.
being in the wilderness as a whole.
So that's what she was fine in the wilderness. So she had lots of
Okay.
experience in the wilderness, and she was a very strong woman, and she kept going and going and going. It was just the techniques of the, when you're whitewater paddling, you need to have the techniques. And she picked it up as the days went on, but it was still a challenge for her. Yeah, and her husband a little bit as well because they were in a canoe together, so they had a few arguments along the way.
I think that's the ultimate test of how strong your marriage is going
Yeah,
on an
exactly.
extreme
Yeah,
adventure and having to be stuck in a canoe
yeah,
with each other.
they're still together. So.
Good job, guys. Good job. You made it.
But it changed. She had the bestest time. She said, you know, she's so glad she did it, even though, it was very challenging for her. She said it's the best thing she's ever done. So, we couldn't change that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. See, that's the prime example of what I was trying to make the point of earlier is just, encouraging people to try because I I have yet to meet someone who tried it and didn't enjoy it.
There
Whether
you go.
it's
Yeah.
yes, whether it's paddleboarding, canoeing, kayaking, anything in between, no matter what type of paddling, whether you want to do the extreme like whitewater rafting stuff or you just enjoy floating down the river, like I've never met anyone who said, "Nah, it's just I tried it and it was not fun." But, I get the nerves of just, trying to jump into something new for the first time. You just got to rip that band-aid and get out there and do it. So,
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that she also enjoyed the adventure because
Yeah.
that's intense. That's intense to
It's
not have the
really, yeah.
experience you need and to jump
Yeah.
into like a level 10 type experience. So I am curious, what style of paddleboard will you be bringing on the next adventure?
It would be a
Okay.
whitewater paddleboard. Like I said, the make is called Red. They make really robust paddleboards. I've never had a problem with them. I've done miles and miles and miles on my paddleboard. And I wouldn't even second guess it not performing well on that journey. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious about that because there's so many different styles.
Yeah,
And
there
that's
is.
actually one of the biggest questions that we get in the group all the time
Oh,
is,
okay.
what type of paddleboard do I need for this type of area? So I was curious for an extreme adventure like this.
Yeah. I mean, I have lots of paddleboards. I actually own 10 paddleboards. So, yeah, from
Wow.
the range of £100. Yeah, from the range of £100 to £1,500. So, yeah.
Wow. So you've got a paddleboard for every occasion.
Like I said, I love paddleboarding, but I'm a canoeist now. My heart of hearts.
Yeah, that's actually really like surprising to me. Not surprising that you enjoy it, but usually it's the other way around. A lot of people start with sitting style type
Yeah.
paddling, either a canoe or a kayak, and then they transition into paddleboarding. But I think you might be the first person I've met that started out paddleboarding and then expanded into like the sitting styles of paddling. Do you kind of bounce back and forth now that you've done this incredible canoe trip? Are you looking for future canoe trips? Or are you just kind of, do you think you're going to stick with your paddleboard because you love it so much?
Well, I'm actually after California. I'm going to Sweden, and I'm taking 24 women out canoeing. So I know I'm back in my canoe. And
Wow.
I'm going to do a
Awesome.
wilderness trip. I've done it last year. I do it every summer. So I'll teach them bushcraft with a group. So it's two female leaders. Actually, we got three female leaders this year. And we do the same as last year's, where we teach them to canoe, to survive in the wild and canoe. So yeah.
Wow. So is this beginner canoeing or do they need to know
Beginner,
already?
absolute beginner. And actually, if anybody wants to come on, we're fully booked this year, but I haven't put the dates out for 2026 next year. So if any, just for women, and it's only women led. We've got a female survival coach and everything. If you want to be a part of that, send me a message and I'll put you on the list.
That sounds incredible. And we love finding adventures like that to be able to promote to the community. So we'll definitely put that information in the show notes for you. If you're interested, check that out, especially because we have a really big community in California.
Yeah.
So if you are coming back to, yeah, if you're coming back, do you guys do the same area every time?
This is the first time I've ever been to California. I was working in Virginia last year, so.
Oh, very nice. Oh, I love Virginia. I lived in Virginia for 3 years and
Oh,
in the
wow.
Virginia Beach area. Tons of paddling out there. That's a huge community. A lot of water lovers out there because you have the ocean, you have all of these really nice rivers that snake through Virginia as well. Lots of really great paddling. So, do you have an idea of where you'll be going for the 2026 trip
In America? Um, no.
or just anywhere else? I mean, we do have an international community. So,
Got Sweden, so I've definitely got
okay.
Sweden done for 2026. Probably Norway. I'll do a Norway trip as well.
Oh, Norway is stunning. It's a
And that's so you
Sorry.
carry on.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say it's at the top of my bucket list.
On Norway, we're going to be doing sea kayaking. So yeah, that's going to be a small group for that one.
Yeah,
Oh, and
see,
I'm also doing I know this is not paddling, there's a different hiking. I'm going to do a hiking adventure as well because I haven't done a hiking adventure, so I need to put that on my list. Yeah.
very nice. Well, keep us updated on all the things that you're doing because these sound exactly like what our community loves to do. So we definitely want them to know about it. And speaking of things that are coming up in 2026, all of this adventure that we've talked about so far, you are actually going to pack into a lovely little book for everyone to be able to read about your adventure from beginning to end. What made you decide to do a book after this adventure?
Well, I was writing the book on my. That was a diary actually. So I was writing a diary for this day I started training. So I had this amazing diary, and I wrote a diary every day because I didn't have my phone with me. I had my camera. Every day when I was away, I was writing, and at the end of it, I was like, "No, this is going to be a book. This is amazing." I was just reading through my pages at one night and listening to the horses in a background. I was like, "No, this has got to be a book. This is too good just to be in my diary and no one reading it." So actually, I've already done it. It's my editor's got it. So the book's going to be coming out soon.
Wow, that's so quick. How did you manage to pull all that together so quickly?
Well, because all I had to do is like transfer my diary pages into my Word, and I did all that. It took me about 2 weeks, which was fine. Every night I did it a few pages a night, and I'm one of I know an editor because I read her book, and she's one of my friends, and she writes about suffragettes, and she's all about women power, and I love her so much. So I was like, Claire, I'm going to send this to you because I think I want to be an author. And then she read it and she's like, Rose, this is amazing. I would love to be a part of this. So she said yes, and now she's editing it for me.
What an ideal partnership. How
I know.
nice it was that you guys are already friends and
Yeah.
you were able to pull that together. So, I don't want to give too much away about the book, but I am curious. Did you do it in a narrative like that? Did you just take your diary and print it out, or did you kind of make any changes to make it a different style?
I didn't change it at all. I literally just read through my diary and just literally copied exactly what I wrote down on my diary. So it's untouched really. I'm not sure what my editor's going to do. She might probably change a little bit of it around to make more sense sometimes, but I don't think it needs much work really. So yeah.
Well, I'm highly looking forward to getting my hands on that when it comes out. Do we have an idea about a release date yet?
Um, i I'm hoping January 2026, because it might not be nice for the start of the year. As the book's done, it's just in the hands of the editing, and I've got the graphic designer doing the front page, the spine, and the back. It's just be about publishing it, really. So, if any good female publishers out there that would like to help me out in America, whatever, please get in touch.
Yeah. Well, we'll have Rose's information in the description below so you can find her if you do, because you never know who's listening. So that's incredible. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, you'll do some pre-orders, and maybe we can. That would be a lovely Christmas gift, to arrive right at the new year. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing all the in between that we haven't talked about today. One portion that I do want to mention and give you an opportunity to talk more about before we end the conversation today is what the trip was benefiting. So this incredible trip, we did. I didn't want to miss out getting to mention the West Mercia Search and Rescue, which is what this trip benefited.
I've never done a fundraiser before, and I am a volunteer for the West Mercia Search and Rescue. As I said, as I live near the river, things can happen. And also we search lowland rescue as well. So people in their most need, we're there to help. And I love volunteering my time. I'm not sure if you have anything like that in America, where people just volunteer to rescue people, like mountain rescue, or you have that, yeah. So it's the same kind of thing, but it's all funded. So no, the government doesn't pay for it. People don't pay for it. It's just funded. It's a funded job role, and the money goes to like get the equipment for people. It's so expensive, like the vehicles, the radios, the kit, the medical kits, the training. It all adds up. So I was just, put. I just wanted to do like a fundraising page for them, really, more than anything, because the work they do out there, it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we were able to highlight them. And of course, we'll have their information below for you to look into, to support, because it's important work. It's really important work. And, you never know, you might have to rely on them one day. And so please share with your family and friends and look into them if you haven't heard of them. I know that probably won't be as relevant for our American crew, but that doesn't mean that you can't still support it and, show them some love from wherever you're at. So thank you so much for chatting about them and letting us know what that was. So is there anything else about the trip that you'd like to share that we haven't covered today?
See, I know I've done my diary and everything, but I'm still reflecting on it.
I was going to say, I would imagine such a large trip, it would take time to really process the whole thing.
I have to big shout out to all the lovely, friendly people we met out there. They gave us everything they had. And they were just so kind. Like even if they didn't have nothing, they would share. And if people share more, I just think what a lovely world it would be. So a big shout out to all the kind people we met along the way.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that, and hopefully they'll hear this. What was the biggest part of the journey that you have reflected on, though, that you really took away from it? Because I imagine this was so life changing.
Yeah. Wow. I just I actually I can't answer that yet. Maybe the nature, the connection I had to nature, or maybe the how strong I never didn't realize how strong I was till after the trip. My body, my mind, my soul. I just felt I could do anything. I guess Yeah, yeah, it's
Well,
powerful.
surviving all of that and marking the way for the first time through such an incredible adventure, I'm sure you did feel invincible, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Rightfully so. So
yeah.
I hope that motivation continues and flows through all of the rest of your adventures for the rest of the year. I do have one closing question that I do like to ask all of our guests. The show is called Paddle Her Way. So we always like to ask, what does paddling Rose's way look like? That can be what you paddle, where you paddle, anything in between.
I would say laughter. There's not a moment of not laughter when I'm paddling. I'm literally the happiest I could ever be. Just, just embracing. I'm embracing the paddle.
I love that. I love that because it really is an important part of doing anything on the water is just giving yourself time to embrace everything around you
Yeah.
and enjoy being in the moment. So, and of course, if you're with a good group, you're going to be laughing the whole way.
Sometimes crying.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes a little of both, been there
Yeah,
too.
just get
So,
emotional.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope that if anyone here listening gets the opportunity to join Rose on an adventure, you will take that opportunity. And of course, if you have any questions, you can send those over. And this has been incredible. I've loved hearing about this adventure. There was so much about it that I didn't know that was surprising to hear about. And like I mentioned, I can't not wait to read your book and find out about everything else that we haven't got to chat about today. So, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you ever so much for having me. And I will send when it's out. I'll send you every details you need. And everyone out there, if you like, I definitely recommend doing some kind of challenge with someone you know, or make sure you do the research about the company as well. Um, just be safe out there as well, because some people go to these companies that don't have all the qualifications they need, and they're just taking money in numbers. People with loads of numbers, that's a red flag. Small groups is definitely better when you're doing these kind of extreme challenges and stuff like that. Just do your research on who you're going with as well. And if you want to come to Sweden with me, that week is the last week of August in 2026. Come along with us.
Wonderful. Actually, that's a really great tip to touch on before we do end here. What are some things that you need to look out for when you're researching companies?
Okay, so you need to check out their all their qualifications, what they've actually done, feedback from people. You also need to check history as well, other people that have been on the trip as well. Maybe even you definitely please ask them for their qualifications and their DBS checks. You need to be with someone that, I mean, DBS checks in the UK is someone that's not committed a crime, or someone that you're safe with. We have that down here. Just ask them questions. And some people think of like use outdoor companies as a quick fix of making money. They buy loads of paddleboards or canoes with no experience, and they're in it for the money. Just make sure they are safe. You've got buoyancy aids. Make sure you're wearing the buoyancy aids as well. I know you said that. Make sure they're providing them. They need to provide them. If they're not providing them, then do not go with them. Okay. Any safety equipment they're not providing is not a good company.
Yeah, those are really great tips. Thank you so much for covering that portion of it.
So,
I think that's something to always keep in mind because you really never know. You can't trust social media, how
yeah.
nice the pictures are and all
Yeah.
of that. You really do that extra layer of research. So,
Yeah. Don't
thank
go
you.
by pictures.
Yes, yes. People can be really great at editing. So definitely do that extra layer of research. Thank you so much for sending us off with that really great tip. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their paddle season, and we'll hopefully be talking to Rose again after her next adventure.
Yay! Thanks, guys. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you.
Bye.